Good morning. It's T-1, and we are currently hooked up and running to last dose of chemo. So that's one hurdle done. Um, Sorry if I look rough without my glasses on. I don't know. I think with my beard slowly trying to work its way back in, I get a little bit of like a dermatitis that just makes my pale skin look angry. So today will be my last day of IV pull freedom, so I've been told, which is to be expected. Tomorrow, the plan is I get my cells at noon, and then IL-2 first dose at 8 p.m. So since I'll be getting IL-2 twice a day at 8 and 8 from here on, and I think the monitoring is probably going to amp up. More to come on that because I don't remember what it was like last time. I anticipate less quality sleep, and certainly a lot more time with the IV pull. So I'm gonna enjoy this shower today and probably squeeze one in tomorrow morning so I can just embrace it while I have it. But yeah, we talked about today, if things go well, that'll mean 6 doses of IL-2. So the last dose will be on Sunday the 22nd in the morning. And if I'm tolerating that well, I'm looking good, then expecting, fingers crossed, for discharge on Monday the 23rd, which is realistic. We got to make sure that I'm doing okay and that my labs look good. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I can already see, looking ahead in my chart, I can see my scheduled and as needed medications for tomorrow, and the plan looks really good. Got a mix of anti-nausea medications, anti-inflammatories, pretty strong one, medication to pre-medicate to help. Hopefully I don't have to deal with the Rigors with the IL-2 that I did last time. But it looks like there's also an as-needed dose in case I still have Rigors. So looks like the team took my my feedback from what it was like last time and actually built out a good plan. I anticipate there'll be more talk about it tomorrow. My attending is such a sweet man, and I imagine he's going to be hovering over me tomorrow, when I get my cells, and hopefully, again, fingers crossed. I'll ask permission before I ask forgiveness, but I intend to film that process and bring you all along for the ride as I get my cells and see how I handle IL-2. I don't want to traumatize anyone if I do have Rigors. Yeah, Daisy says we'll put a content warning if it happens. But otherwise, plan to be up and about today. Still feel good. No nausea, no vomiting. Gonna get some more walking in today. Maybe I'll go and hit up that vending machine. Get Daisy and maybe myself a cherry Coke Zero again. It's the little things in life, right? But yeah, I think embracing and enjoying some freedom while we have it, and just keep on keeping up. So more to come.
How are you feeling about what's coming up?
Oh, yeah. Daisy asked how I'm feeling about what's coming up. I'm optimistic, obviously, about. I think the new plan is very good. I'm really thankful that before we got going, not only did the team ask for my input, but I also had the experience to give them my input on where there were stumbling blocks before, what what I experienced, and the plan has changed accordingly to help react to that. I am, to be honest though, I am still nervous with the prospect of IL-2, of just those Rigors were no joke. It was like the worst full body exercise, exhaustion, pain feeling that you could ever imagine. And it just took so much out of me. So I know last time, after I experienced it the first time, every dose, I was amping myself up and getting anxious and getting just overworked. And I'm trying not to do that now. I can feel it in the back of my head, like just that thought of what if, what if, what if. But I know the medication that we're going to pre-medicate with me, I know it works to break the Rigors. Yeah, the medication is called meperidine or Demerol. It's very similar to an opioid medication. I wish I remembered like classically what's different about it, but it's one of the frontline medications that can be used to break Rigors that are, whether it's Rigors that are induced in this case by IL-2, or people that have Rigors after like anesthesia. It's another common medication. So before, what we were doing, it was very reactive. The protocol was set and said, if you have Rigors, then you can get a dose of meperidine. And that meant that for minutes, that felt like hours when it was really bad, I was waiting to get a dose. And there's literature studies to back up pre-medicating, so giving the Demerol before getting IL-2, that can prevent Rigors in patients with a known history. So we have studies to support that this could work. And then still knowing, learning today, I obviously haven't talked the whole plan through with the team yet. Didn't want to get ahead of myself. But knowing today that there's an as needed dose, if I still Rigor through that pre-medication dose, that's helpful. It's good to know. But yeah, I think I can't get overconfident with the first dose. It's going to be a big day tomorrow, probably a bad night of sleep, tomorrow night. But it's going to be getting through T+1, that next day of 2 full doses of IL-2. I think that's going to tell the tale, because that'll be halfway through the planned 6 doses. And that's going to tell me how I'm actually tolerating and how I'm feeling. I may be good, I may be a wreck, I may be somewhere in between, but I still plan to be very communicative with my team, to be very honest with both them and here when I'm recording how I'm feeling, and with Daisy, yes. Well, I can't hide anything from her. She sees all. So yeah, I'm ready to get this show on the road. So I know I'm not the only one. I found out today I'm not the only one on the unit right now getting TIL or Amtagvi. I think they just had a new admission today for TIL. So hopefully this is becoming more and more common of a treatment. This protocol's ironed out well, and hopefully this all this work that we're doing, filming this out, talking about it, answering questions. I feel like there's so much more I need to talk about even after we get out of here. So much more I want to put together and share that hopefully it helps. It helps somebody. Even if it's just one person, that's worth it.
We went to the cafe for lunch. Lee was feeling good. He's still feeling good. He's chilling. The unit that we are on, like the 14th floor, well, we're kind of in the back near the end of a hallway. And it is so quiet back here. No one comes unless they're trying to come into his room. So it's actually kind of nice. And I kind of took today as a little mental health day in a way. Just do things that were enjoyable and spend some time with Lee, talk to him, be with him. Today was actually a really nice day. Didn't have any traffic coming in, which was shocking. And I also had a dentist appointment, which was kind of stressing me out. That got figured out with no problem. I don't know. Today is just going really well. So I hope that this calm does not mean a calm before a storm. I mean, we'll be back here tomorrow documenting regardless, but I was just thinking today of how I felt calm, how so far this process has been better than the first time. Last time Lee did this, he had a day where between the chemo and getting his cells, they didn't give meds at all. It was just a break, a free day. That doesn't exist anymore. He goes right from his last chemo today into getting his cells tomorrow. I don't see any reason why he would need a break. I feel like last time he appreciated the break because he was having a lot more side effects from the chemo and feeling a lot more run down. And he just took that day to sleep. But I don't feel like he needs it this time. So I guess it makes sense that it's not there. It might mean we can get out of here sooner. So Lee probably talked about all this already, but cell infusion is at noon tomorrow. That should be uneventful. That's just an infusion. Usually people don't have anything side effect wise from that itself. And we're going to try to document as much as we're able to, but I think it would be kind of cool to show how they just bring in these little tiny IV bags that are full of billions and billions of cells that they grew from a tumor they removed out of Lee's body a couple months ago. It comes cryopreserved. I think that the cells arrived on March 10th, they said. So they always line up the hospital stay around the time that the cells are here and available. They don't like them to sit around. They can't sit around, obviously. But I'm planning on being here all day tomorrow for that and staying later at night for the first IL-2 infusion, just to make sure we're okay and Lee's doing okay before I leave for the night. I feel pretty calm. I think that the plan for pre-medicating is really smart. I think that even if it's not enough to prevent Rigors initially, I feel that the team will get that dose dialed in. There's 6 doses on the protocol. And last time he was doing this as a trial, we thought that meant you have to get all 6 doses for this treatment to be considered complete and to work. But what they're saying now is if you can get through 2 doses, that's pretty solid. And then if you are really having a hard time getting through the rest of the doses, you can tell them to stop. You don't have to get all 6 doses if you can't tolerate it. So we're just going to see. Either way, if he gets through 2 or 6, I think I'll feel the same either way. Obviously, I want it to be the most, the safest route possible getting through this. And hey, if he's not having any side effects, let it ride, like do all 6. But if he does do all 6, and his cell counts are recovering and looking good, he should be able to get out of here on Monday. But we discussed this, and we are not holding our breath because we know that it's all going to depend on whether it's safe to leave here. Lee does have a bit of a history with all of his hospital stays, most of them for brain surgery, that he is so eager to get out of the hospital. And sometimes you don't know that you are being released that day, and you're just sitting around hoping that someone comes in and says, okay, I have your discharge paperwork. But waiting to leave the hospital is always a long wait. And that might be a little bit mental, it might be a little bit administrative, but it's always like that. And there have been days where we're just waiting on discharge paperwork, and Lee is just beyond ready to bust out of there and just go home and be at home, which is understandable when his last surgeries were very emergent, but this was more planned. So since we've already been here 7 days at this point, if we need an extra day just to make sure he's good, his cell counts are good, that would not be the end of the world. And we would figure it out. And we talked about that. So I think we're in a good place with that, and we're not going to get ahead of ourselves. Preparing for Lee to come home, one of my friends was kind enough to schedule a deep cleaning for our house, which is amazing. I thought about doing it anyway, but so much better to take that off my plate and have professionals go in and do it and clean our toilets and do everything that they do. So that way, when Lee gets home, the house is as clean as it can possibly be. Not that they would release him if it was unsafe for him to be in a home environment. But for us, I just want to make sure it's as spotless as possible so that we don't worry, and so that I don't have to do any cleaning when he gets home. I want that to be a very restful, calm, quiet, zero chaos time. But I'm feeling pretty good about his physical shape at the moment, how he can walk around without getting deeply out of breath. Last time it was a much different story. He was just really having a hard time doing anything physical, like really tired, sleeping all the time. Minor movements would put him out of breath. And that continued for a while out of the hospital, probably for about 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And it was a long recovery for him to bounce back. So I have no idea what to expect this time, but I feel more optimistic based on how things have gone. And that could just be, medications have been more dialed in to manage side effects, but time will tell. And we're not going to rush it. His nurse told us that there are a few patients on this floor who are getting the same treatment, just they're in different stages of it. And she had an admission today. So it's interesting to see how many patients are getting to do this and go through this, which I'm glad that Lee got to be part of that clinical trial that was testing the safety, the efficacy, so that these protocols are so well dialed in now and make a lot more sense. I think it's definitely in favor of the patient and getting them recovered and out of here on a good timeline. So it's weird to say, I'm glad we got to experience it, but I'm glad that Lee had this chance to do this again, that not a lot of people or any people that I know of have gotten this chance, because it's all about insurance. Insurance will only approve this a treatment once per lifetime. And since Lee did it as a clinical trial, insurance didn't pay for that. So he technically didn't use his once per lifetime. But maybe in the future, there can be a good argument, hopefully using Lee as a case study, that this treatment can work twice. It makes sense to give it twice for certain people. That would really be something. I don't think anything is going to happen between now and the end of the day. It's already after 4, and I think tonight might be like an early turn-in night for me, so I can rest up and get back here in the morning and be ready to go for a very exciting day. And I don't think Lee can hear me, but I think he is looking forward to getting this done and getting back to life.